Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cars of Desire YouTube channel. Before I start this video on this Volvo XC40 Recharge with a T4 plug-in hybrid engine, don't forget to subscribe to the channel where there's loads more content already on there and upcoming, so stay tuned for all the exciting detailed insight to what it's been like to live with these cars over a week of testing. So join me in the rest of this video where we're going to look in depth, talk about what it's been like over the past week with this XC40. This particular XC40 is from the Recharge range, which is a plug-in hybrid system. So it combines a 1.5 litre petrol in this T4 guys, a 3-cylinder with an 82 brake horsepower electric motor. So in total the engine gives 129 brake horsepower, add plus the 82 brake horsepower that the battery gives you. Now in our test it's done about 23 miles on a full battery charge, which isn't too bad considering that's more than most people's commutes. And what's great about this particular plug-in hybrid system is the fact that there's a button where you can press charge on the infotainment system and it uses the engine to charge the battery. Now on the motorway during this week, in a 40-minute journey on the motorway, we've managed to add about 12 to 13 miles onto the hybrid battery, which means even if you are doing longer distances, you can still recoup those fuel costs when you get into the town centre at the other end of your destination. So as I mentioned a minute ago, this combines a 1.5 litre petrol with the hybrid motor. So let me just put the bonnet, which is on the passenger side, and the bonnet catch releases just this yellow lever and it comes up on its gas struts, which is great for this price point of car. Now under here you've got a relatively compact looking 1.5 3-cylinder petrol engine. Now if you make regular use of the charging facilities of this car, then you'll barely ever hear that 3-cylinder engine working. However, if you do run out of charge and you're desperate for that burst of acceleration, you will hear that this 3-cylinder is a little bit gruff. However, in pretty much majority of situations it is really refined, especially when the battery's charged. And with this combination of this 1.5 petrol automatic gearbox and the plug-in hybrid battery, it does 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds, which is a pretty good all-round speed which is usable for pretty much every situation. And we found that even on the motorway it very rarely lacked any performance. This Volvo XC40 SUV is distinctively a Volvo from its styling point of view. However, it does have a nice distinction between the large XC60 and XC90 siblings. With the LED Thor's hammer headlights, the nice Volvo detailing and the glossy finished grille on this inscription model, it really does look a premium car as well. And down the side profile of the car, it's also distinctively a Volvo. Despite being boxy with some plastic cladding, it still retains the trademark kick up of the back 3/4 and the very distinctive rear shoulder lights, which do give an excellent presence on the road, and you know it's definitely a Volvo, which is a really nice touch, as some rivals can look a bit mundane in their rear light signature, but not with the Volvo. And of course you got Volvo labelling embossed into the centre and XC40 badging here. And this particular glacier silver colour is a very interesting colour. It kind of blends silver, grey and almost a light blue all in one, and I do think it sets the car off very well indeed, and we have had a lot of compliments from various people about its colour, which is unusual for a silver based tone. What's also improved the styling in this particular model is the optional extra of the privacy glass that just adds the depth and the colour contrast to the car. In the boot it's very practical with a relatively low boot height that enables low and old dogs to jump into the boot. And this here is the charging bag, which is a really nice bag with Volvo and a nice hook, so you can hook it down to one of the various tie-down ports in the boot. And of course, being a Volvo, you've got a first aid kit. This is the ski hatch, and if I just come around here to fold the seats down, the same on this side. You'll see that it reveals a completely flat and unobstructed load bay, which is very practical for large shopping or those tips of the trip. And of course it's a versatile boot as well, with that luggage strap and a 12-volt socket. Now underneath here isn't a great amount of storage, but that is due to the fact that we've got the optional £150 temporary space saver spare wheel. So if you don't have that, you would have a bit more space underneath. This XC40 is one of the most practical and usable SUVs that's great for families, not only because the entrance and exit is made easier by the ride height, but it's also such a roomy and spacious place to spend time in, as these rear seats are so comfortable and there's loads of headroom as well. And with this optional panoramic sunroof, it does make it feel super light and airy. And of course there's various different colours and trims you can choose. There's a cream blonde interior if you wish, which just makes the car feel much lighter, but this black interior with the sunroof and the light headlining still feels extremely spacious. And there's a nice practical touches here as well, with these nice metal feeling air vents and heated rear seats and two USB-C charging points. And in the centre here we've got a centre armrest with a couple of cup holders as well. And overall it's just an excellent place to spend time. And practicality is also great, with the large storage bins on the door, and also the fact that the felt line stops metal or bottles rattling around in the door, which can be a great annoyance. So having that felt lined is a great feature. The interior of this XC40 is a really luxurious place to spend time, and for the price point, bearing in mind that they start at £25,000, it really is an exemplary place to spend time, with really nice materials high up the dash and nice different inlays that you can spec. This particular one's got the nice driftwood on the interior, which is really nice. And the plug-in hybrid like this one come with these really nice glass gear selectors, and they really do look great, and they also light up at night time as well. Like almost all modern Volvos, the centre console is dominated by this large infotainment system, which is an absolute ease to use, with everything you want right at your fingertips. Like even all your in-depth safety things you can turn on and off just to the right hand side, which is, don't have to go too deep into menus to do relatively in-depth things, which is great. Of course you can view all your driver monitor system, and when you drive along it shows you whether you're using the battery or the electric motor, and also whether it's charging the motor as well. So as you can see, we've done 403 miles in this car so far, and we've been averaging 47.7 miles per gallon. And for a car that weighs as much as this car, I think that's very impressive. And of course, if you did charge this car all the time, you could almost drive it without ever using the petrol engine if your trips are smaller. Like the back, the front of the car is relatively practical. Now you don't get as deep storage bin as on the petrol non-hybrid XC40s, because they have got to store the battery, so the centre console is slightly reduced, but it's still a really good space. And the glove box isn't the biggest, as with the owner's manual and the cleaning cloth it's almost completely full. However, you have got a massive space here, with this particular one having a wireless charging pad. And also the door pockets, because they don't have the speakers in the door, it's mostly in the dash and the high tweeters at the top, gives you huge door bins. They do take the big 1.5 litre bottles of water, which is almost unheard of in this car. So it's a great place to spend time with. You've got all the technology at your fingertips, beautifully minimalistic design, high quality, and a very functional interior. It really is a nice place to spend time in. Out on the road, that hybrid system in the XC40 gives it extra punch when pulling away, and it feels generally sprightly. And you can drive at low speeds or any speed in complete silence, as long as you've got enough charge in the battery, which makes for a very relaxing drive. And at higher speeds, it always feels composed, solid and secure, and there's surprising little body roll in the corners as well for an SUV. And of course, with the option for four-wheel drive and the higher ride height means that put some winter tyres on this car and it can be generally capable in snowy and wintry conditions, almost like it was from Sweden. Being a Volvo and their commitment to safety, this XC40 is one of the safest cars on the road. And it does give you that really nice safe and isolated feel when you're in the cabin as well. And the standard safety equipment is very comprehensive, including autonomous emergency braking, which is called Volvo City Safety, which also detects cars, pedestrians, cyclists and even large animals, and it will apply the brakes automatically if you fail to do so yourself. And there's also other features you can get, such as blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and various other features like that, which make your life so much easier. And one of the best features on this car, which is not extra unfortunately, but it's definitely worth having as it makes ownership a lot more easier, is the 360-degree parking camera, as it gives you a bird's eye view of exactly where the car is. Now you can almost park the car, well, you can park the car by just using that 360 camera because it is crystal clear, and it's a really great system to help park with. Now, don't get me wrong, there's loads of brilliant cars on the road that we've tested, loads of great ones, but there's very few cars that I'd actually have myself because they often have compromises and little niggles that just makes living with them slightly inconvenient. But this XC40 has really confirmed what I've always thought about this car whilst I've had it on test, that it truly is one of the best cars that you can buy, you know, starting at £25,000 for the T2 Momentum. And this particular plug-in hybrid model is just over £42,000 without any options. And that hybrid battery allows you to travel in and out of cities, not polluting the environment at all and not costing you any fuel. And it really is one of the best plug-in hybrid powertrains we've ever tested. Living with this Volvo XC40 is extremely easy because of the relatively boxy dimensions of the car allows parking to be done without a fuss, with the square bonnet allowing you to see exactly where the corners of the car are and where it ends, allows for easy judgment when parking, and also the great all-round visibility of the car. And that back window is really large, which allows you to gauge exactly what's behind you. And of course, as I mentioned, the fitment of a 360-degree camera as an option and the front and rear parking sensors does make parking an absolute ease. And if you really want to, you can also spec automatic parking, so it will park you in and out of a space if you so wish to. So that combined with Volvo's commitment to safety and that solid and secure feeling you get within the cabin, the excellent practicality, great visibility and excellent technology makes this one of the best cars that I can recommend to anyone wanting a great all-rounder. It really is exceptionally good, and you certainly will not be disappointed if you've got one. And I do think this is one of the best cars on the road today. Okay, well, thank you for watching this XC40 review. Let me know what you think of the car. Any comments, feedbacks, always very welcome. And if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be much appreciated. There's plenty of other videos on there, and there'll be loads more coming up. See you in the next one.